All right, well, I am Jason Whittle,
Hi guys, I'm Natalie.
and we just are going to share with you guys a little bit of our story, kind of some of our family stuff, some of our work stuff. We realize that not everybody gets an opportunity. We don't get an opportunity to spend a lot of time with every single person. So we just thought it'd be a good idea to make sure that people knew our story.
Yeah, get to know us. Get to know us a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm actually born and raised here. Grew up here at Lake of the Ozarks. Graduated from Camden in '93. Went to Springfield. That's where we met at Missouri State back in the day. And I tricked her into to marrying me.
Funny.
Yeah.
No, there was no tricking.
Yeah.
I was after him.
Yeah. Right.
So we got married in 1999 in St. Louis in a little church in the Soulard neighborhood. And that was after you spent your first season. He spent his first season with the first season with the Giants in '98. And I graduated that December. No, that's not right.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. The details don't really matter. Keep going. I like you. I like where you're going
Anyway, okay.
So we met at Missouri State. We met at Missouri State. We started dating our senior year. I chased her down. I don't know how I got you to agree, but she ended up, you actually moved in with my parents, and I went to the NFL. I went to the Giants.
Yes.
And you were a teacher, and I was in the NFL.
That's a good part of the story.
Yeah.
I taught under the tech school umbrella in Eldon. I directed a child care program while Jason spent his first year in the NFL, and we got engaged that November of that year. So then we spent that off season together and planned a wedding, and he was back and forth to New York and Missouri, and I finished my school year, and we got married in July of '99 and loaded up our little U-Haul trailer and went to New Jersey and spent 5 years there, and that was an adventure.
Then we moved to Tampa, then we moved back to New York for a couple years, then we went to Minnesota, then a couple years in Buffalo. So I made her move all over the place, and during that time we were buying houses and fixing them up and flipping them, and we kind of got the real estate bug during that time because it was a really good time. That was like from '98 to 2009, and anybody could buy a house and flip it and make money during that time. So it wasn't, or maybe not at the very end, but we got out just at the right time. But
the market was hot then, and I remember what I thought was really helpful is every time we had to move, Jason would say, "We gotta go," and he would be on a plane and out of town to the next team, and I was there with the house and with the kids. So we had to pack all of our things up.
At that time towards the end, we had 4 little girls.
Yeah.
And then we ended up with 2 more boys after we retired.
So I was getting back to, sorry, I didn't get to finish that.
Oh.
So I know this isn't actually about real estate,
That's
but
all right.
I loved the fact it was something that I realized. So we always had to pack all of our things up and get out of town, which left the house at the bare minimum for showing. And what we used to brag, we never had a house on the market more than 7 days before it was sold. So, but the market was hot then as well. But
so it gave us the real estate bug even before, and I actually ended up, towards the end of our career, ended up becoming partners with some good friends of ours back here, and got into real estate investing. Got my license just to be more knowledgeable about the whole process. And then that kind of turned into selling our own properties. And then when we actually retired, because that was actually the last couple of years in the NFL. And I remember it was like the night before my continuing ed was done, and Stacy Shore, who was my team leader, I wasn't, poor thing, I didn't do anything. Like I was selling nothing at the time. She calls and she's like, hey, is your continuing ed done? And I was like, what do you mean? What's continuing ed? And I had no idea. We weren't really doing real estate. But then after 11 years in the NFL, and how many times, we moved 14 times in 16 years, basically. And you had little girls on your hip at the time, and man, I can't believe you stuck with me after
Well, it's been so fun to see that progression, and just like Jason said, us buying and selling and moving, and he loved it. He was all into the numbers and what we bought it for and what we sold it for and what, the comps and what the market was doing. So that was fun. And then when it came time for retirement, his last season was 2008. And at that time, in 2006, we closed on our first house here at the lake. So that kind of changed life as well. We started moving 2 times a year with the 4 littles, totally relocating to a new state every 6 months. And, where was I going with that? So 2008 was his last season, and then actual retirement was March 2009. And we actually continued to move once we got here to the lake until 8 years ago. We kept moving until we found our spot.
So we moved back here in 2009. We trying to decide what we're going to do, what I'm going to do when I become an adult. And I'm still trying to figure that out, but we've got a little better direction. But really kind of just word of mouth, hey, you have your real estate license, will you help me sell this, will you help me buy this? And it just felt like there was a lot of opportunity, and I loved that aspect of it. And so ended up starting our own company, Jason Whittle All Pro Realtors, and had no idea what we were doing. Like, if we would have been audited, we probably would have went to real estate jail, because I knew numbers and I knew how to talk to people, knew how to work hard. But as far as all the ins and outs and all the little things that you need to know, I had no clue. And but we were growing, and it was hard because I was spending a lot of time away from the family.
Our family was growing too.
Yeah, we ended up
we
with
decided
2
to have
boys.
2 more kiddos, making 6.
You decided to have 2
And
more.
that is true. That is true.
Everybody's like, oh, you just trying for those little boys. It was like, no.
No.
Natalie got baby
We
fever
got
and ended up
baby
with
fever.
two little dudes.
2 more, thank goodness for that. So, yeah, we had 2 more babies, and at the same time we're getting settled here, and that was such a blessing, and still is to this day, that just after a career in the NFL, what society really thinks is a pinnacle of careers of sort, to have this after that career, it's just been a blessing. Seeing Jason love what he does every day and the people he does it with.
Yeah, I keep waiting to have a real job, because I feel like I've never had a real job. There's days that I probably shouldn't say that all the time, but.
Well, that's a choice too, because it's the way, it's a choice,
It's pretty fun.
I think.
It wasn't so fun there for a while. I was literally losing my mind. When I had my own company, I was losing my mind. And I really was worried we were going to get audited. There was a lot of things that I needed to implement. I actually had a guy do an internal audit, came back with like a list of 31 things I needed to implement. And he was like, if you franchise, it's not going to take away all of them, but it'll help. And so I started looking at franchises, and just none of them seemed like a good fit. Me being from here, with my name on the company, I wanted to make sure that the people I had were full-time professional agents that were going to make sure that we were serving our clients, and that everybody we dealt with was going to have a good experience. And there was just the guy that did it actually threw out RE/MAX kind of fits that mold, and I was like, oh, well, they dominate the market. There's no chance. And so I just decided I was going to roll up my sleeves and do that. And then like a month later, Frank Christensen, who started Remax Lake of the Ozarks, comes into my office and invites me to lunch. And through that process, through a couple more meetings, he is ready to retire and offers to sell us part of the business. And we hadn't even met Jeff or George at that time. You were totally against it. You were so scared.
I was thinking when Jason came home and said, because what the nature of the business was at that point. I mean,
well, Remax eats their young too. That's what we had heard
right.
The whole time.
I didn't even know that.
Well,
I didn't even know that.
That's
I
what
just
I've
thought.
been telling my own agents so that they would never go there.
I just felt like, I just saw in my mind like 100 other people, pulling and wanting his time and attention. And so we went to dinner with Frank and Karen and George and Ebby and Jeff and Mel. And we sat down at the table, and it was the first time I had met all of them. Mm-hmm. So sat down at the table, and halfway through dinner, I'm crying. I can't cry now.
You can't cry, you're hilarious. Yeah. No, but it was scary not knowing. It was a big change. It was going to be a big change from being our own little brokerage to being, going from however many agents, 15, 16 agents, to all of a sudden we were going to have almost 70. And there just were a lot of unknowns. But we prayed a lot about it. We just kind of talked through it. And the more we met with Jeff and Mel and George and Eb and Frank and Karen, it just became really evident that what Remax Lake of the Ozarks had was exactly what we wanted. It was exactly what I had always kind of wanted for my own company. Frank had done, all those guys had done an amazing job of creating this culture that is just really rare. It's really rare in any business, but especially in real estate. And so the more I looked at it, I started talking to different people inside of Remax. I didn't know what I was doing, but it just became very evident that they just lived by this theory of abundance, that there was this thing of sharing, that you were going to, that there was just this camaraderie and this synergy that was contagious. And the more we looked into it, the more evident it became. And so that was in February of 2015. Yeah. We came over February 1st.
It felt right, and it felt like a family, pretty immediate.
Yeah, so 2015, Frank retired. Jeff and George and myself and all you ladies just kind of, like you said, it felt like family. And we've had an absolute blast. Since that time, my role has changed a lot. I'm not, they don't even give me a lockbox anymore. I spend most of my time training and meeting, lots of meetings, Jeff and I. And I spend more time with Jeff than I do you, I'm pretty sure.
Jeff is his work wife, for sure.
Yeah, my work wife.
And that's something we're so grateful for. It would be so different if if it were just the two of us or our partners. We just all have different strengths, and we celebrate those with each other, and just the way Jeff and Jason can run the company together with their strengths. We're grateful. We love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lost George. It's almost been 2 years now, but lost him, which was super sad. But Eb's still a part of the company. She stepped down from ownership, but still a huge part of the company, and her family and her team. And boy, the ride has been so fun. And like you said, it really is a family. We continue to get pushed. I love this market. I've never sold anywhere else. I'm glad I've never sold anywhere else, because I truly believe that this market is one of the toughest places in the country to sell. There's so many little nuances, whether it's geographical nuances, things with the lake, docks, Ameren, FERC, all these septics and shared septics, lots of things that you don't normally encounter in most real estate transactions outside of the lake. And it just makes it never one day is the same as the next. And so I think that's one of the things that's been really fulfilling for me, coming out of my first career in the NFL, where you were just pushed physically all the time, and now we're not really pushed physically, but there's always some challenge, and there's always I'm always calling Jeff. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And if I can't get a hold of Jeff, I'm calling somebody like Jane or one of our other awesome team leaders. I mean, we've just got a company full of leaders in the industry that are always eager to help and always eager to work together, and so it's been really fun.
Okay, so this picture was actually taken on our 15-year anniversary.
I've got a lot more hair and not nearly as wide a beard.
Which was 9 years ago, and anyone who has kids, we don't have to tell you how fast they get big, how fast they grow. So we went back to Tower Grove Park, where we took our original wedding pictures. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and did family pictures.
Love pictures. Wish we did them all the time.
Yep. Yes. And now the oldest is almost 22, and the youngest is 9, and they keep us busy.
They do keep us busy.
They are living in 3 different states for school and work, and then we still have 3 under roof.
And none of ours are in real estate yet.
So.
Unlike Jeff and Mel brainwashed their children. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. They're going to come around. Claire's going to do some shadowing this summer. So.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them get in it, or at least a couple, but maybe not. Where else?
One thing I love about RE/MAX Lake of the Ozarks is we have fun. It's a priority.
You guys are the fun.
It's an actual priority. It's an actual part of our planning. Very important part of our planning.
That's their favorite part. You think that's the only part that we plan, but it's not. We actually have a business plan, but they're the fun planners.
Yeah. So
and there's lots that you guys
very
do.
important.
Yeah.
And I really, our company works hard and we play hard, and that is important.
It is
I
important.
love our women's events are just awesome, and the reason they're awesome is because of how many women in the company truly want to be with each other. They actually love to get together outside of work. Deals do happen there, but it's just, we make it an environment of fun, relaxing, and just a time to get together and have fun.
Yeah, you guys do a great job. We do all throughout the whole year. We have all kinds of company events, from fish fries to Christmas parties to men and women's days to fall festival, all different kinds of things. But it's just ingrained in the culture. It's just a culture of one where we want to spend time together because for one, we like each other, and 2, it's really easy to get siloed in real estate. It's really easy to kind of be out on your own, and we want to do everything we can to make sure that people feel like they're supported, people feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, and I think people respond to that. And I think people love that when you're authentic and real, and you can just be yourself around your coworkers. And when it's time to be professional, we're professional. When it's time to have fun, we have fun. And it's just a really, really blessing to be a part of. We've got over 100 agents now, and it's just such a blessing to be a part of such an amazing group of professionals, and more than that, even amazing group of people. So.
Yeah. One thing I love is, I know the guys encourage everyone in the company to work on their business and not just at their business, but we do that ourselves. We don't just ask everyone else to do it, we do it as well. So about 4 times a year, we're attending conference, which brings so much value. And then we'll meet as partners and determine what to implement. But since we've been a part of it, I've always seen the guys take what we're given and pass it on and just bring so much value to everyone in the company.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing about the brand. They do a great job of training us, pouring into us, and then us being able to grab that stuff and bring it back to the agents. And it's always a fun part. We used to kill the ladies in the front office because Jeff and I would go to these conferences and we'd bring back 100 different things. We'd be so fired up. We'd bring them all back, and then it was hard to implement them all. It was impossible to implement them all, and then nothing would get done very well. And so now we're pretty strategic about it. We all go, we take our own notes, and then as we sit down, we kind of prioritize what we want to implement first, and we make sure that that's done, completed, and doing well before we go on to the next one. It's been a business changer for us.
And it's just not always that way, unfortunately, with every brokerage. And Jeff and Jason, I've seen them from day one take so much value and bring it and pass it on. They put a lot into it.
So whether you've been in real estate for 30 years, or whether you're thinking about getting into real estate, or whether you're with our company or with somebody else, we just want to say thank you. We just hope you understand how blessed we feel to be a part of this company, and we're just so thankful that you've either decided to join or that you're thinking about joining, and that's the truth. So thanks so much.